Folks, you already know this is going to be a problematic video. If we got Tier Maker in the background, things are going to go really wrong here. Listen, I know 2XKO is still probably like a year away from coming out. We're only in the alpha stage, but I thought it would be fun to discuss which characters I think are strongest right now in the alpha labs for 2XKO and which characters I think could maybe use a buff or two. But I know, guys, this is just my own opinion. This is not hard fact. This is all subject to change. There's going to be a million gameplay changes between now and when the game comes out. But I just like talking about characters. I think it's fun, and this is maybe a good way to learn what all these characters are capable of if you're interested in playing them yourself. So let's start out. Currently in alpha labs, I think the #1 character in the game is Ahri. So as a point character, Ahri is pretty tricky. She's got easily the strongest air dash in the game. It's really the only true air dash in the game, although Ekko has kind of like a double jump type thing. So with this, not only is she capable of doing some strong mix-ups where like she can air dash to the back, she can do repeated overheads like that. So the air dash opens up a lot of stuff for her. She also has very strong and easy confirms thanks to her S1. I think this move is definitely a little overtuned right now, considering you can get a full combo off it from any range, and you don't even have to use your ground bounce. Yes, you can use your ground bounce like that, but there's actually no need because of the ability to air dash cancel and get a full combo that way. So yeah, she doesn't have the most damaging combos compared to someone like maybe Yasuo or some of the heavier characters, but considering her speed and mobility and her range and how well she can hit confirm, I definitely think her combos are a little bit ridiculous right now. But the #1 thing that I think is making Ahri #1 in the game right now is actually her assist. Her assist is one of the most overtuned things in the game. This is the Vegeta assist from Dragon Ball FighterZ. With the double assist fuse, this is, let's just say, a little bit broken. So you can do just a super basic combo like this. And, yeah, I mean, like, Is that okay? Are we okay with this damage? So apparently this assist is currently bugged. It is not contributing to damage scaling in the way that is intended to. So that is a big contributing factor to why this assist is definitely overpowered right now. A lot of the touch of death combos in the game require this assist. But even after they nerf it and add damage scaling, this will still be a ridiculously good assist. So much hit stun, so much block stun, the ability to OTG twice in one combo is really good. But I think if I were to be completely honest, I think post-nerf, Ahri might actually move down to A tier because she won't have the same touch of death potential with her assist anymore after they nerf that, but she'll still be really good. But next up, a character who's good without relying on any bugs or anything is Darius. So one thing that I think describes Darius quite well is privileged. He has a lot of things that are unique only to him that the rest of the cast do not quite have. So the first one is obviously he has the only reversal in the game that doesn't require meter. So it is not truly invincible, but it does have armor and it will go through like basically anything that the enemy throws at you. So him being the only character with a move like this that you can just throw out on defense, you always have to think twice when you're pressuring Darius. Also, this move is very safe against jumping opponents because it's going to push them back and they're going to have to land before they can press anything. Also, you can call an assist before you do this move, which is, you know, any game where you're able to kind of make your reversal safe using an assist, or in this game, not only can you make it safe, but you can like tag afterwards and keep advantage and go for mix-ups. So the ability to do that with a armored move backing it up is really, really strong. We've seen in a lot of fighting games stuff like Dragon Punch Roman Cancel in Guilty Gear Strive, DP FADC in Street Fighter 4. Anything that's like, yeah, you can make your invincible move or your armored move safe. It's a very dangerous thing to put in a fighting game, and that oftentimes gets nerfed in other games. So this move by itself, I think, makes Darius a threat. But of course, not only that, he's also got the S2, which is an insanely long-reaching move. You can kind of just steal neutral with this, back it up with an assist, and then again, all of a sudden, you are at advantage. It applies bleed to the opponent, which means, you know, anytime they block, they're going to be taking chip damage, even on normal attacks. And on hit in the corner, the fact that you can just run up and get a full combo off this is also quite ridiculous. So yeah, S2 is a really privileged move as well. And his S1 as well is a very kind of cursed and privileged move. This is like an auto mix-up move. You can do an overhead that you can combo off of. And then if they decide, okay, I'm just going to block then, I don't want to get hit by the overhead, that's when you have the threat of the throw, which you can go into super off of and get huge damage that way. And you cannot retreating guard this. You cannot push block this move. It shuts off the opponent's defensive options. So the fact that he just has an auto 50-50 essentially anytime he lands a block string is also pretty ridiculous. So also, I didn't even mention his assists are really good as well. This assist just wall bounces anytime, which is pretty good. There are other characters that require setup to get a wall bounce on your assist, you'll see later, and you can tag cancel it, and it's super plus on block. So yeah, Darius, I think, is probably the best character in the game if we disregard Ahri assist. But there's one more character I want to put in S, and that is going to be Ekko. So Ekko is really the king of mix-up when in this game. Your whole game plan is you want to get a hit, get a knockdown, and then you have really, really tricky and hard to see 50-50 mix. Because of his ability to leave behind a clone and then teleport to it, you can just do some insanely nasty stuff. And I think when it comes to true, pure 50-50 unseeable mix, Ekko is definitely the best in the game. Because Ahri, most of her mix-ups kind of have to start with an overhead. Like, she can't do a jump into a fast low. She has to do an overhead first and then kind of mix up the high-low afterwards. That does make her mix-up a bit more fuzzy blockable. It does make it, to me, seem like once we've had the game for a while, people are going to be a lot better at defending against Ahri's Okizeme and mix-ups when the opponent's waking up versus Ekko. But I feel like they wanted to balance this by making Ekko's combos not necessarily as straightforward. So, for example, like if you're just a little bit out of range, all of a sudden your launcher is going to whiff in certain combos. You might have to make some kind of sacrifice, like going into a super to set up a combo, or like you might have to be in the corner to land like a good setup off this. But people have definitely found ways around this already. Like, for example, mid-screen, you can still do this. If you do a micro dash, you can still get that jab there. So I feel like that was a route they didn't really want to work, but it did end up working. So Ekko's combo potential is really good off of basically like any starter. Plus, obviously, assists are going to help with that. And then I also feel like they wanted Ekko, you know, to be an all-out rushdown character where, you know, yeah, he's really good when he gets in, but his neutral is maybe tricky. He always has to be the one pursuing the opponent. But that kind of ended up not being true either, because his time grenade is just kind of a ridiculous move. This move is way stronger than it looks. The fact that you can, you know, bounce this around with your bat, you can throw this in the air. This is actually really hard for a lot of the slower characters to deal with. The time grenade just kind of blocks off so many angles of approach that he can actually zone out a lot of the best characters. So he can be played either way. He can be rushed down, or he can really control neutral. He has the best mix-up in the game. He has very highly damaging combos, a lot more than you would expect, and I just feel like Ekko is pretty strong. Plus, he has an install super, which is really good for double down, so he can do all kinds of really nasty tricks with this as well. So, yeah, Ekko, I think, is definitely S tier in this build. All right, we're going to move on to A tier. I've got Ahri here already. Next up, I'm going to put Yasuo. So Yasuo, I think his biggest strength is probably combos and damage. Similar to Ahri, he has this real advantage in that he can get a full damage combo off of essentially any hit. Because of this move right here, the big pimpin' move, if you will, because this is going to hit from like any range and lead into a combo, you can really just get any starter you want. You can do as many hits as you want, and as long as you go into this, yeah, you can go into a full combo. He also has the advantage that he can end any combo in a level 1 into level 2. No other character can do this for the most part. So he can spend 3 meters by himself. He can essentially do a DHC or a double down without needing the double down assist, which is really strong. I think he also has very strong neutral because of stuff like his wind wall, this long like beam that he can do with it, as well as the tornado. He can cover neutral very, very well. But as for his weaknesses, why am I not putting him S tier? A lot of people do think that he is S tier, one of the best in the game, but I feel his mix-up is not necessarily as good as Ekko or maybe Ahri. He has stuff like this, which is very strong right now. You know, people are definitely getting opened up by these cross-ups, but obviously there's no real mix there. It's just you know he's going to hit on the back. And there's cross-up protection if you're combining this with an assist. They don't really want you doing like true 50-50s using your assist like this. He also doesn't have an overhead. He has this, but obviously this is a little bit slow. And yeah, you can do some tricky stuff like that, but it's pretty situational. And I think maybe not going to be the most like long-term, hard-to-see mix in the long run. He also doesn't have like a useful jumping cross-up. Like his jump down H is not really like a jump in, so a lot of characters like Ahri and Illaoi who can do really good cross-ups, and Ekko. Ekko also has a grounded overhead, which Yasuo doesn't have, so I feel his mix is not that good. And I also don't find his assists to be that amazing. He has the wind wall assist, which is honestly just not that useful right now. Like, yeah, you can do clever stuff like you do this, and then you tag back, and that's cool, but if you're using double down, I think there might be just more broken stuff to do. And then his other assist that passes through them, obviously this is really nice for double down as well, because it kind of auto sandwiches, but I don't actually think he gets that much like true 50-50 here. You know, because he doesn't have an overhead, I think you kind of just have to go for like throw or something, and that's going to be heavily scaled on the follow-up combo. So yeah, I don't think his mix-up is like that amazing in general. I think that's probably his biggest downside, and I don't think his assists are that amazing, but obviously he's very highly damaging. He's a very strong point character. I just don't quite think he's S tier right now. All right, and the final A tier I'm going to put here is going to be Braum. So Braum, his biggest strength for sure, I think, is the shield. This move is just insane. It's really ridiculous. You can get a full combo while, you know, the assist just goes through whatever the opponent wants to do. Is insanely strong. His other big strength, obviously, he has a command throw, and he can even get a combo off it. So this is actually, you know, really privileged because this is true 50-50. Yes, because there is throw invincibility on Wake Up, you can fuzzy jump to get out of it, but obviously Braum can bait that by like delaying normals and stuff like that. So it's not like there's no mix up at all here. You just have to kind of be one step ahead with how you're doing tick throws and stuff like that. So his command throw is really strong. And then his final strength is his damage. He is one of the highest damaging characters in the game. He can do massive damage like this, and if you combine him with double down, all of a sudden, like, oh my god, I've done huge damage right now. And Braum has his powered up shield, so now his assist is going to wall bounce. This is what I was alluding to earlier. Darius gets a wall bouncing assist at all times, but Braum does need ice on his shield to do it. But not just that, having ice on the shield is going to add armor to his normals, so that is really powerful as well. Just the fact that you kind of can passively go through what the opponent's doing is really good. This 2-hit sweep is also very deceptively strong as well. You know, if he has ice on the shield, if you're trying to retreating guard away, he hits you with the 2-hit sweep, he goes into this, and he is just going to get a huge, massive damage combo off of that. So Braum, huge damage. He's really good if you have a good assist backing him up. His biggest weaknesses, obviously, he's a big body, so he's slow. His normals are extremely slow as well. He has a hard time in scrambles if you don't have ice, because your opponent's normals are just going to be faster than yours. And if your backup character dies, Braum becomes a lot worse, because all of a sudden the shield is not that useful if you don't have an assist behind you, so you kind of want him to be the character to die first on the team. But I think in terms of a point character, he is probably one of the stronger ones in the game right now. And yeah, if you just want to do big damage, Braum is your boy. Okay, you guys can use process of elimination. You know that I am going to put in last place here. I'm going to put Illaoi in B. This kind of pains me. I really like Illaoi, but Illaoi's really big issue is essentially that she's kind of like a two-step character. She kind of has to set up, right? Like in this situation at round start, Illaoi feels very weak. Her normals are pretty janky and slow and don't have the best range. It can be very hard for her to get the first hit. But of course, once you do get a hit, you know, you scam a hit out in some way, and then you get the tentacle on top of the opponent. Now she becomes really strong. Now, like, throw becomes a threat because you get a combo off it, which is going to obviously lead you into another tentacle. Plus, when you have a tentacle out, all your stuff becomes, like, insanely plus on block, like, literally plus, like, 100 or more on block when you have a tentacle there backing you up. Her mix-up is, I don't know, above average maybe if you have a tentacle out, right? Because now you have access to the command throw. The command throw, it's slow to come out, but because it shares an animation with a strike, it is essentially unreactable in my mind. And obviously she can get a combo off her normal throw behind a tentacle, but you know, that's throw techable. But yeah, her mix is pretty good when she has a tentacle out, but when she has no tentacle, her mix is just kind of bad. Like it's good to be in on the opponent because you can like do really annoying block strings like this. Like this move is probably her best move in general, forward S1. This move is safe. It's super spammable. You get a combo on counter hit. But you cannot do the follow-ups on whiff, which does make this move very whiff punishable and very easy to like jump in on. That's kind of the downside of this move. So yeah, like long story short, I think she's working as intended. I think they wanted the character to be like, yeah, when she has no tentacle, she feels a little bit weak, and then you get a tentacle out, you get the opponent to the corner, all of a sudden she's like this super dangerous, highly threatening character that is really scary to block against. So I think they succeeded in that way. Also, her super 2 has a lot of potential. I think this move could definitely be broken once we have some more lab time. Like the amount of chip that this does and how safe that keeps you is really good. But yeah, she's the type of character where it's like you kind of have to run her in second slot. I think generally your goal should be like, you know, you get a hit, you do your combo like this, let's do this, and then we bring her in, right? And now we're in a good situation. We just did a ton of damage. We have a tentacle out. Like now the opponent has to be really scared. So yeah, I think that's kind of the way you have to play, which is a strong strategy, but it feels a little bit handicapping to have a character who like you have to get a hit first before she becomes usable. In a game where you're always like switching out, the kind of the intent of this game is that you're going to be going back and forth between your characters all the time. And if you don't get that first hit, if you don't get a good setup to start to get your offense going, she feels a little bit weak. So that's why I think she's probably the worst character right now, but that's not to say that she's not competitive or she's not strong. She's definitely extremely strong. She just requires more setup than the rest of the cast, in my experience. So yeah, guys, that's how I'm feeling about the tier list. Feel free to yell at me in the comments if you guys disagree. Let me know what you think. The Alpha Lab still has a few days left, so I'm going to be getting more time in with the game while I can. And I hope you guys enjoyed the little breakdown today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.